So I hear you're looking for a little post-apocalyptic, maybe Burning Man cosplay advice. Well, that's pretty easy to do.
And you don't gotta do it for expensive. For example, this awesome, very easy to make face mask I designed here. First, we just took one of those dog walking little collars that changes lights. These are fantastic because they got multi different colors, which is really good. And you could kind of daisy chain them together. And we just took a little 3M mask, nothing too fancy. Put on a little, nice say hello finger there to show everyone what's up. And then these just came from a Halloween decoration that was just a snake. So really all I did was chop those up, tape them on. And the sinew here is fake. However, you can get this really awesome sinew that looks legit, but isn't. Now, for the coat itself, one thing I recommend is don't use the EL wire. The reason I don't like that is if you're like on the spectrum or you have a lot of sensitivity issues like myself, then that makes a noise like really, really annoying. And personally, one of the main reasons almost everything I do is red is because red's easy on the eyes. It doesn't mess with people's night vision. And having something good in your pocket like that, you can turn it off when you need to just disappear. Then you should always carry some other light, something small, just on your regular body. That way you have something on your coat that you can see from all angles, and it's something on your body too. Because a lot of times, even at Burning Man or other big festivals, there'll be people driving cars and stuff, and you want to be seen, okay? You don't want to be just completely black. You're going to get hit by something. Now, another important thing is make sure to party in your stuff first. Don't just go out, because otherwise stuff can get really hot or uncomfortable or tangled. For example, it took me a while to figure out how to get these wires wrapped around, these little LEDs, without snagging on things. Now that's quite important. Now a lot of times people think that this stuff costs a lot or that you need to spend a lot of money to make it. And you really don't. This was a Jango Fett costume that my friend's mom actually just cut up and attached to a pleather jacket that cost like 10 bucks. And then of course we got my ultimate hero, the Walken. And he provides me everything that I need, spirit animal basically. Now the other thing too is just these little arm guards here. These are super simple to make. All I did was take some socks, or on this case, stockings, because they're nice and flexy. They also can have a little bit of UV protection and keep the dust off you. And then this guy here isn't actually attached to the sock. All I did was take like a child size pad from roller skating and just did the same thing with this sock, where all I did was attach it with metal. I'm not too good at sewing, so I used a lot of metal and staples and things like that. But this guy by itself, you can just take this guy off easy. If you get too hot, and just rock with just this. It's also nice because as you saw it, I could take this off and on wearing all those other jackets without anything snagging. I mean, that's important. Now, honestly, if I just had like a t-shirt and just that on, it would help. Now, this guy here, this also comes off. Velcro is king. Almost everything that I have has some form of Velcro so that I can mix it and match it. For example, I do a lot of fire spinning, and when you do that, you do not want to wear pleather. No. So something a little bit leather is actually a whole lot better. Now the same thing with that other coat is that I can attach this guy to this right here. Really quick, really easy, didn't cost a lot. This is just a LARP dagger, so I don't get taken off of TikTok or whatever. Looks decent from far, but rubber can't do much. Now, something else that's really important, the number one thing I recommend for any outdoor festival is you have to carry a solar powered light. Now, for example, this guy right here, all this is, okay, is a little garden light. Just one of those that you stick in it. What I do kind of like too is for like post-apocalyptic cosplay. You can make like a little dagger thing out of them. But it also helps you mark maybe where your tent is or where you're hanging out. And since this is just on you all day, it's always charging. Because the worst thing is when you get out far into the desert and all of a sudden you're like, oh, I'm out of batteries. Or why are we wasting all these batteries? And if your friends all have like a similar thing like this, you can kind of see each other from a distance and that's kind of badass. Now, just for funsies, what I did with this one was just put a little scrap of messed up cloth on there. And then I also have a nice little spike kind of hidden there, another spike. And then it's always good to have a small knife attached to you. Now, if you're at a convention, no knives, no spikes, nothing like that, okay? But this guy's still legal. But this, you always want to carry a knife on you. I can't tell you how many times this come in handy. I once accidentally biked through a whole bunch of people's guy lines, like 3 blocks down the street, stopped my bike, looked back. There was so much string in my bike, I didn't know what I was gonna do. Luckily, some friends that wanted to take care of it helped me out, but it took a while. So number one thing for light, solar power. Please remember that. Now, another really easy thing is when it comes to like weaponry and stuff, you don't need to spend a lot. For example, this guy can either be a good little spike or a good little club. You know, for like the Wasteland Festival, it's got the good hello. And all that was a Halloween ornament that used to have like a peace sign thingy, and I just cut off a finger. And the cut off finger itself is used in other cosplay. So, I mean, that altogether, maybe $3. And again, just sinew and leather. But it looks good and weighs nothing, because that's the other thing. You don't want to wear stuff that's heavy. If you're going to be dancing and getting down, you want to be able to move. And if you notice, there's not a lot of sound. You don't want to jingle jangle too much. For myself, it's bothersome, especially if there's also music already pumping. Now, one of my favorite things to do to just add a little flair to anything, because that's really what it's all about, is some good arm guards. Now, all I did with this guy here, some of my personal favorites, was I took a brass cannon, put it on top of a soccer Shin Guard. Okay, let's let that focus for a moment. And then what you can do is just put your arm through the Shin Guard. This one's pretty tight from when I had it set last time. Okay, and then you have a pretty awesome little blaster. Now the nice thing about this too, again, is this is convention safe. It's not a real blast or anything, but it does look pretty freaking badass. I mean, it's almost like a literal arm cannon there. And again, doesn't weigh a lot. And to cover up the black, all I did was same thing with the sock. Just cut a little sock up, throw it on, and all of a sudden it gives it that more finished look or finished kind of vibe to it. Originally, I was going to put this cannon on as like a cod piece thing, but it was too heavy. There's some accidents, didn't work out. Now, similar thing with this guy. Again, all we're using here is Halloween costume. And again, this is just a child size soccer Shin Guard. Now, this can be worn on the shin, which I like because the hand acts as kind of a good little knee pad. And the nice part about this guy, probably one of my favorite little bits, is that it's got the spike still on it from when it's supposed to go into you know, your yard. And again, this whole thing, maybe $10, but it did take a while to wrap all the sinew around. And again, the sinew and the leather really add that like post-apocalyptic, like, no, that's someone's hand. It's held together with sinew because bones don't just stay together. It's something that always freaking bothered me. Why do they do that? Skeletons don't just hang around. If there's not sinew, then they fall apart. Okay? So again, this guy here can be worn anywhere. Add this to a small outfit. Super easy to make, lots of fun. Maybe you can even trade it for something really easily. And then another thing that's good, because a lot of times, you know, the pants are kind of hard to do. So I like to make little knee pads. Now for these, all I did was go to Home Depot, just get some regular ass kind of knee pads. And I like these ones. What I did was I took 2 shirt sleeves that I normally wear around my face, cut them up at different angles, dirtied one, and then that way when it's on you, it kind of looks a little more, you know, like it's multiple things, pretty badass. And I must say that they definitely help when you're setting up camp, tearing down camp, and you just need one. You know, what I like to do is a lot of my stuff's either brown and white or dark and gray. So I usually have one that's more white, one that's more gray, depending on the cosplay that we're trying to do. And with things like good aviators, you know, take some And all I did was put some sparkle around the side. That's it. For some reason, the sparkle really adds a lot. At least it does for me. I love that stuff. Now, another good thing to do, and this is really easy, and I can't believe I don't see it more often, is the sleeves. So, for example, let me show you this guy here. All I did was take a good leather jacket and used a lot of shoe polish and tar and ran it over with my car a few times and cut out everything but the sleeves and the part that goes around the neck. Actually, this one I don't think I could get that this guy through without ripping it too much, so we're going to take that guy off. So again, if I'm fire spinning and maybe I want to protect my arms a little bit more, especially if I'm doing the sword stuff, definitely helps if I actually put my arm through it. So then this guy, now I basically have an instant coat. Or a lot of times myself, if you're getting too hot on the dance floor, you could take the vest off and just wear the jacket part itself. And what I also do is I put straps on just about everything like this. That way I could put on arm guards or other things. And then just this by itself is pretty awesome, but going on top of anything, pretty good. So the same coat that I used to make this one, I also cut off the bottom half of the coat. Now what we did here is you could do a lot with this. For example, you could wear it just like a skirt, which I do like because you still have two pockets, okay? You could kind of wear it around you like that. And in fact, I've even made a hoodie out of it when I was doing some fire spinning that got a little bit dangerous with some people. You know, or a cowl. Just a nice little awesome cowl. And I got two good pockets there too. So again, like this plus this makes a pretty awesome outfit. And that was like a $20 jacket. I got it at a thrift store. Shoe polish costs a few. So you don't need to spend a lot, but you do gotta have some fun with it. One of my favorite things to do to dye or make, you know, stuff that was once really white and nice. Like for example, this pair of long johns was stark white when I first got them. I mean, like grossly white. So to get them more brown and everything, because I could kind of just rock these at a lot of post-apocalyptic festivals and stuff, what I used was the unholy mixture. Black coffee, dark tea, and salt. And what you want to do is you want to mix that, like soak this in a tub of that stuff, and then take a hard sponge and scratch in certain areas. And remember to focus where sweat would be sweat. So when I do this to something like a shirt or anything like that, let's see if I have a good example here. No, not really, but we'll find one soon. I like to do, you know, get really gross here so that it actually looks post-apocalyptic. Now, one of the hardest things for guys is pants. Now, what I'm wearing right now are just some really easy hiking pants that zip. I love these. And all I used was just shoe polish to give them a really dirty, grimy kind of look. They're comfy, they're light, they don't weigh a lot, they're really easy to wear. And then it's always good to carry some kind of utility belt because you're gonna want to have lots of small little things, car keys, lights, everything like that. And in the belt, there's a few things you absolutely want to make sure you have. So in this pocket, we have two different face masks. Now again, I talked about the gray or the white for the face masks. Now this I did the same thing. You take a t-shirt and cut it just above here so that you still have the top part that would actually go down here. That top part's going to stay on the top while the bottom is going to go behind. This way, you have a really fast, really easy face mask that actually looks kind of badass, but isn't gross. White is a great job for reflecting heat. So I love the white ones for outdoor festivals. You can also, you know, pretty easily, if you want, just, you know, that's a nice little string, make it into a good headband or just bring it down, and it doesn't take up too much of your neck so you don't get too hot. And then we did the same thing with the gray one here. I always say, bring two, because one's going to get sweaty and gross. So have another. And that's also why I like to keep them in the plastic bags. Now, besides that, one of the most important things too, an umbrella, not just for rain, but for shade. So I like mini ones. And for example, this little guy, you kind of clip on here, almost kind of looks like a weapon, but it's really small. It's gray. And what I did, same thing, used a lot of shoe polish and then just poured rain over it. It also, when it kind of opens up, looks a bit like a rock or like a big stone. So I like that because I could kind of hide under it. And in a way, it creates, it's like urban camouflage, basically. So something like this, also really important. Because, you can be partying all night, and all of a sudden, like, oh, sun's coming up. I have a mile and a half to get back to camp. Woo! It's going to get hot. That's where this can save your life. Or if you see someone that's maybe struggling, and you give them something like this, that's how you're a real hero. So those are just a couple tips, and we're going to keep going because we're going to have lots of fun here. So one of my favorite things, too, is the pants I mentioned before. I've always had a real hard time finding good pants that look nice. So, and for this, what we're going to do? We're going to turn the light on a little bit brighter here. Let's see if the spear will touch it. There we go. It might be too bright, but it should help with this. So what these guys are, is I took 2 pairs of pants. All right, so we have one kind of regular pair. And then what we did was we cut the crotch out of that first pair, but we cut it out so that the seams of the crotch are still in there. This way, when I'm actually wearing it, it kind of keeps everything still inside. And then we just cut a piece of the leg of another pair of pants and then attached it on the front like a flap. Now, the reason I love these guys is because they're pretty easy to wear, pretty easy to pull on over other things. And what's really nice is if you're dancing and hot, you could roll them up. If you can go to the bathroom, boom, you got your thingy. So pretty easy to do. Now what I did to decorate these was same thing. Soaked them in that unholy mixture. And then when it comes to blood, what I basically did was put a pile of clothes on the ground in my house and said, if anyone bleeds, bleed on this. And then after about 2 weeks, we had pretty good, awesome, bloody pile of clothes. And that's the best way because otherwise you're not going to get that real blood look. It's just going to look weird or maybe even dye a pink color, for example. So that's a great way to get some super awesome pants. And I'll tell you, the whole thing about cutting out this part and putting that flap on kind of blew my mind. I don't know why I never thought about that one earlier. It's a great cosplay idea. Now again, I've done a similar thing with another coat top. Now all this is, same thing as the other one, was I took a coat and just cut out the sleeves. Now this guy's nice because it's not as heavy as the leather. Okay? But I could do the same thing where it has the straps, so I could put my body armor on it. Now I could just wear this. It does provide sun protection for the top of the back because that's one spot that gets really burned really quickly. So you're going to want to remember to be careful with that. And then what I did with the bottom half of this and the other part of those pants was make my absolute favorite thing, this skirt of amazing. So what this is, let me flip up the top part here, is we took that other pair of pants, okay? We cut off pretty much everything of that pants except the back part and the sides, and then we cut the bottom part of that coat and just put it on the front with a little bit of elastic. Now and one of the nice things too, we have a fly, so we could actually use that. Now skirts, man, oh, these things save your ass, especially at Burning Man or HOF festivals, because for example, you could just rock, just the skirt itself and stay nice and warm, or, put it over other things. So, now I got both. And if you notice the way that it falls on the edges here, each side of my pants is available. So I still have all my pockets and everything. Now what do I do when I get to the porta potty? So now here's the problem. Now to demonstrate this, for some reason a lot of guys don't understand that if you're wearing like a tutu or skirt and you go to a porta potty, and you pull it down and you sit down, and when you get up, it's gonna scrape the back of that. It's really freaking disgusting. So guess what? You can lift them above you. I know, it's crazy. I never thought you could actually like use your brain, but check this out. Oh my God, now I'm not hitting the toilet, and the skirt itself can become its own outfit. So not only can it be worn as a skirt, you could just rock this as a pretty awesome shirt thing. You know, I mean, it's good. And again, this whole thing, now it took me probably like a week to make, because the process of dyeing everything and all that does take a while. But it's super worth it when you come to your end product. Now, another really fun thing is coats, because this is going to be important. You're going to want at least one big coat with a hood. So what I got here was I took kind of a raincoat. Now these are going to be the hardest to dye. These are going to be some of the hardest things to actually, make weatherproof. And again, you can tell it's a Burning Man thing because it's already got a face mask in it. Now this one has a detachable hood. What I like about this is that all the dust and stuff doesn't stay on it good. The detachable hood itself is pretty rad. So just the hood itself, I could take off, wear with other things, lose the coat, keep the hood, put on anything else. Basically everything's designed to be mixed and mashed and put together. Another really fun one that I got here, this is one I'm just started on, because you want your stuff to be comfy too. So what I'll often do is go to like hunting supply stores like Cabela's and that, and get really nice stuff, because there's nobody that's kind of more of a wussy when it comes to natures than rich hunters. So they want nice stuff. So we took a little hunting shirt, okay? Same thing, we used for this one I used ink that's for a Chinese calligraphy set, which has like peat moss or something in it that just really digs in. And then same thing, you notice how the brown there, that's the blood, because if you use real blood, it's not going to get that correct brown. It's going to get this really weird pinkish kind of stain. So all in all, I mean, I was able to put like that coat, the skirt, all that stuff. The entire one of those like entire outfits would be like $50, maybe $100 after I spent some money on a few other things. But it doesn't cost a lot, and you can make so much fun stuff. Now, I'm also a huge fan of Fury Road, so of course, you gotta have your wheel. That's my wheel. Mine. Now, of course, it's not a wheel. Wheels are heavy. It's a wheel cover. That's it. Empty on the inside. And what I did was just run a little bit of tubing, put a little skeleton hand on there. Now, this guy's super awesome, actually. This is a 50 caliber bullet. Now what happened here, let's see if I can get this in the camera, is that my friend etched it. Let's see here. So it's acid etched with some nice symbols. And then we have a deer antler. And just something like that, hanging off your side or just holding up. I mean, all together, again, not much. Same thing, I used that snake to get a good guy on there. And really inexpensive. It's super fun to make, and it's all about the accessory. Just this coat or just this vest, this wheel, and these pants, and nothing else, and you're pretty set. Oftentimes people go super overboard. And for example, I'll show you one of those outfits in the next video. I love it, but it's a little over the top, but super fun. And I hope you enjoy this, and let me know if you have any other cosplay ideas, because it's so good to share fun things.